Hello and welcome to BlueBrixx News, the weekly show on all things brick building, where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week, and some reading recommendations as well. However, I do believe this week it's only going to be one. Anyhow, information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. So let's get started there. However, a quick internal note before we get started on set updates. We are now publishing what we call a transparency report. So even on our English website, actually it's far behind our German one, but we keep now publishing also over here. Obviously, a big question that a lot of folks have is, where have you gotten your sets from? And obviously, we buy a lot of the sets we review. Actually, it's the majority of these sets. We buy them like everybody else. However, from time to time, we at BlueBrixx, or our German sister site Merlins, we are getting review copies, manufacturer samples, whatever you may call it, from these companies. And so, as we have now started to publish reviews also over here, now we also have the transparency report. You can find this if you go to merlinsbrixx.com on About in the navigation and then transparency report, or just merlinsbrixx.com/transparency. First of all, we are pointing out here what our rules are, how this works. And then we have also a table here at the end. Obviously, it's quite short. I mean, if we go over to the German version of the same report, you can see the numbers are much higher. Like I said, we just recently started to publishing also reviews over here on merlinsbrixx.com. But this table will automatically be updated as always. And this is all explained here in quite some detail, how we, what our rules are, how we mark all of these videos and articles that are based on a provided review sample or copy of the set, and automatically the set will also, this table here will give you a statistic over time where this set originally came from. Just as an FYI, quick internal notes. And with that, we are moving on and we are getting started as always in alphabetical order with the manufacturer BlueBrixx. And here we have a ton of availabilities around the Star Trek lineup. I don't know, I think this is wave number 5 of the Star Trek lineup, since BlueBrixx started to do this a couple of years ago, or since they acquired the license, I should rather say. And now we have available the mid-size starships of this current wave. So we are still waiting on some of the larger ones, like the Enterprise E, the display model, but like I said, all the mid-size ones are here now. So first we have the Danube-class runabout, the 105691. This thing has 693 pieces, and it's gonna cost you 40 euros. As always, when I think with all the euro prices that I say that I name or point out here, as always in Europe, that includes tax. Keep that in mind, because that's especially compared to the US, a big difference. So 40 euros, 5.8 cents a piece. The runabout is something they have already done as a display model a couple of years ago. This is actually one that I built. So this one here is just a smaller version. I'm a huge fan of the mid-size models. I think it's a perfect size usually to get the shape across, and it doesn't break the bank, and you still have some space on your shelf, because the display sets usually they are above 2,000 pieces. So this consumes quite some space over time. However, sometimes this mid-size scale does not really work out, and in my opinion, this is the issue with this one here. However, I haven't built it yet, so maybe it's too early to say. The Jem'Hadar attack ship, the 105686. This thing has 511 pieces, gonna cost you 30 euros over here. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a complicated design, right? It has this insect shape that the Jem'Hadar are going for, especially the smaller attack ships. I mean, they're not that small, but you know what I mean. Compared to the very large battleships, it's really not easy to do in bricks. And I think, yeah, I mean, BlueBrixx did an okay job here, but overall, I'm not yet convinced. I mean, if you look on it top down, it looks pretty cool and pretty authentic, but especially from the side, I'm not yet convinced by the slope work, but we will see. I've actually bought it. It's on its way over here, and I do intend to make a review on this one, and also a short, of course. Then we have the USS Excelsior, the NX 2000 105689. Oh, I have so fond memories of this ship, and the movie, of course. especially Star Trek 6. I think there is one scene that is one of my personal highlights of all time of the Star Trek cinematic movies. Anyhow, BlueBrixx has this mid-size model now with 585 pieces. It's going to cost you 35 euros. And yeah, I mean, it's relatively boring in its design, but all in all, I think it's quite well done. And I think these are 35 euros well spent. I have personally ordered this one as well, as I have done with the USS Stargazer, the 2893, NCC 2893, I should rather say. And this is by BlueBrixx, the number 105692. They sell this for 40 euros, 700 pieces. I think from a piece count perspective, it's the largest mid-size model of this wave at least. And yeah, I mean, the Stargazer has not been on screen that often. I think there was one scene in The Next Generation, and I think one other one. Was it in Voyager? I can't recall. Anyhow, here we go. The Stargazer in mid-size format, and then we have the USS Thunderchild, the NCC 63549, the 105690, 30 euros, 505 pieces. Actually, I can't say much about this ship. Never really seen it that much in action, but here we go. It's actually, as you can see here, it's part of or related to the First Contact movie. And then we have the NX-01 shuttle pod. So this is the only set in this size in minifigure scale, the 105699. So keep in mind the runabout in display model size, so the large one with more than 2,000 pieces, I think it was back in the day. Was also minifigure scale. And then they have, I think, done the shuttle of the Enterprise D, I think, was one in minifigure scale, and then we have this one. However, BlueBrixx has minifigures nowadays. They started to make minifigures a couple of months ago. I have done some reporting on this. However, I don't know. I guess this set has been announced for quite a while, and if you look at the number, it has been planned for quite a while. So this could be the reason. I think it's too early to say that, hey, they are not going to make any minifigures for Star Trek. I'm pretty sure they will, but we just don't know yet when. However, obviously, a lot of folks were hoping, I guess, that this could be the first set, including minifigures. But yeah, let's see. Maybe at a later point in time. This bad boy has 748 pieces, so it is actually bigger than the Stargazer. And BlueBrixx is selling this one for 43 euros. And yeah, I mean, it's minifigure scale, so obviously you can put a pilot into it. Interesting, they used a regular mold, the same that basically Lego is using for seats. However, if you have taken a look at the BlueBrixx minifigures yet, they actually don't fit very well in these seats. So actually that is also something that BlueBrixx has to do. If they ever bring their own minifigures to the Star Trek lineup, they have to basically also change the sets at least slightly in certain areas. Anyhow, with that, we're moving on to two more military vehicles. I've talked about these in the past. As always, big disclaimer, keep in mind this BlueBrixx Bundeswehr lineup, so German Army basically, is a 1/30 scale, so it's different than what Cobi is doing. Actually, they are not compatible from a size perspective. Anyhow, this one Panzerhaubitze 2000, which is basically a highly mobile artillery piece. Actually, that has been in the German media in the last 2 years for quite often, because some of these have been shipped to the Ukraine in order to defend against the Russian aggression. The 106909 is the BlueBrixx set buff of this one. It's only 50 euros. That's 3.6 cents a piece. So that's really, really good. I mean, there are a lot of manufacturers out there, for instance, Lego, who would, I don't know, ask for, I guess, 3 times as much. Everything that you see here usually should be pet printed, because this is usually how they go for in this Bundeswehr line. And as you can see, this is a big difference to most Cobi tanks. You can actually open this one up in several areas. I mean, usually Cobi tanks, for instance, I built the Leopard 2 a couple of months ago, or I guess it was more than a year ago. And for instance, this one, you could only open the machine room, but not where the driver is sitting or the turret or anything like that. So that's a big difference. Obviously, they have a lot more space to work with due to the 1/30 scale, which I think is actually a pretty good scale. Speaking of the Leopard, this is the BlueBrixx variant of it. The 106908 is the Leopard 2 A6 version. I think currently German Army is using A7, and they are working on an A8 version, to my knowledge. Anyhow, this one here has 1,367 pieces, and BlueBrixx is asking for 50 euros. And again, pet printed, and maybe I should have mentioned this, that the BlueBrixx Pro line is usually manufactured by Xingbao. That is both true for the Army line here, as well as it is for Star Trek. And again, you can see, I mean, this is something you can directly compare to Cobi's Leopard 2 that I think is still in the market. And as you can see, there are much more open options to open it up. It's true, I guess, yeah, to scale also for minifigs and has the right size and a lot more functions and a lot better interior. But obviously, you don't get the quality, especially the piece quality that you get with Cobi. That's, I guess, a big difference. With that, we're moving on to CaDA. And here we have, as an announcement, the first set, I think, of the new catalog. By the way, if you go up to the setDB navigation, you can also find here a navigation entry called Catalog Archive. So I keep an archive here of many Cobi PDF catalogs for you, but also the new 2 CaDA catalogs. I mean, there's the 2022/23 version, and now they have a new catalog. I think it came out a couple of weeks ago. So obviously you can download these from many of your local, or let's say CaDA selling shops for sure. I think CaDA, at least I couldn't find it directly on their website, but I've also provided you with a copy over here. So if you're interested, you can take a look at this. And long story short, I do believe that the Roof, I think it's a German company, so let's say Roof, CaDA Yellowbird is actually, I think, the first set that I know from this catalog. Anyhow, 62003 is now available just from CaDA itself. I've not seen this with any retailer. It's designed by Artemis Zotov, so I think it's part of CaDA's Master Builder series, i.e. they are working with talented MOC designers out there. 1,515 pieces and a list price of $100 US. This is really good, 6.6 cents a piece. And yeah, at least my personal opinion is that when it comes to Technic, I mean, this is again a hybrid car, so you have system on the outside and then Technic on the inside, but CaDA is doing a really good job here, very good piece quality. The interesting question, of course, is are we talking about pet printed here or these stickers? So CaDA has from time to time a few prints, but very often it's also still quite sticker heavy. And especially I do hope that this Roof logo here on the bonnet or on the hood is I do hope that it is going to be pet printed. Next to that, I think it's a beautiful shape. Hate the blue Technic pins. Why? Come on, CaDA, you can do them in yellow, or at least in light bluish gray, right? Blue is really not, it's really hurting my eye, especially if you look here at the back. It looks that they have used here pins in a different color. Anyhow, here we have the Roof. Roof, by the way, this is kind of a supercar from a German company, and I think of these here, they have just made 29 of these bad boys between 1987 and 1991, so it's quite a while ago. It was an absolute record-breaking supercar at the time, and my understanding is they were basically buying a naked chassis from Porsche and then basically built an entire car out of it, which is quite amazing. I have no idea how much these things did cost back in the day. With that, we're moving on to Cobi, and here we have a couple of availabilities in Europe. So first of all, from the historical collection World War II, we have the Mustang P51 that is now available from Brickmore, at least. That's an Austrian retailer over here for 17 euros. That's not cheap. I mean, these small airplanes by Cobi are never cheap, but nevertheless, here we go. Now availability, it has 150 pieces, so that's 11.3 cents a piece. But it is available. And then you can pre-order from the same retailer now the Spitfire Mark 16 Bubble Top, the 5865 by Cobi. It has 152 pieces and you have to pay around 17 euros. That's 11.2 cents a piece. So these things are not cheap as always, but I mean, Cobi's doing a pretty decent job. Quite beautiful. And then we have from Keeppley availability in China. You can order from Reobrix in this case the 2 rovers. First of all, we have the Zhurong Mars rover, and I'm absolutely sure I've entirely pronounced this wrong. The 10223, as most of the times with Keeppley, we do not know the piece count, but you have to buy roughly $115. I think in case of Reobrix, this contains or includes shipping to Europe, I believe. But I guess, depending on your region, of course, the price may vary. Anyhow, Keeppley, I haven't built that many sets from them, maybe 2 or 3. But what you usually get with Keeppley are pretty good pieces. And or piece quality, I should rather say, and a lot of prints. So usually with Keeppley, everything is pad printed. It's not even a UV print. So quite cool. And yeah, here you have a rover. I guess from the Chinese space program is my guess. And yeah, it's quite well done. And like I said, with this piece quality, you should have a lot of fun of this if you're a space enthusiast. The same is true for the lunar rover, the 10224. It has it's the same price, $115, and very similar by concept, right? You have a 6-wheeler as a rover, and then you have the station with all the solar cells, etc., etc. That is Keeppley, and with that we are moving on to Lego. And here we now have a ton more announcements by Lego for the first wave for next year, 2024. I mean, I've done reporting on these for weeks now. I mean, not months, but weeks now. I mean, and more is coming. And basically the same is true that I already said last week, that I cannot report on all of them. It's just, we were, I think, beyond an hour last week, and we will be, I'm pretty sure, this week again. So I'm primarily focused on sets that I do believe are quite interesting, have a certain size, etc., are relevant, and would make sense to talk about them. But there are, of course, a ton of especially smaller sets, kit sets, that I'm not that interested in, so I skip them for reporting. Anyhow, with that, we're moving on to the set that personally excites me, and I guess many Star Wars fans the most, 75327, the Clone Trooper and Battle Droid Battle Pack. So this is a €30 set, or $30 US, 25 British pound, $40 Canada, etc., etc., etc. So it is, in a nutshell, more expensive than a regular battle pack. However, it is still called a battle pack, so it's not like I don't know, the 501st set or the Saber tank that we had 2 years ago, which were almost felt like battle packs, but they were more expensive because they had larger builds in it, or just more minifigures than we usually have in a battle pack, right? And this is the case here. So you have 4 clones and you have 5 droids. 3 of them are super battle droids. So that is, I mean, super battle droid for sure is like a full-blown minifigure, maybe even more. So this is a lot larger than the regular battle packs are used to be, and it's on the same side, slightly more expensive. But nevertheless, for $30, depending on, of course, what your currency is, you're basically getting 9 figures. Let's ignore the 2 droids, then it's still 7 figures. That's pretty cool. We have also a couple of interesting builds in there. I mean, the speeder is not that well done. And my personal only regret is you have this gray, light bluish gray box here. Lego has a printed version of this one with the Imperial logo. So it would have been so cool if they would have thrown in here one with the logo of the Separatists or the Republic from that point of view. I mean, Republic would have been fine. A slightly change in the existing print, and we all would be super happy. With that, this set is gonna come 1st of January. I think it's awesome. You have 3, let's say, neutral clones, grunts, whatever you might call them, and you have 1 shock trooper, 3 super battle droids, and 2 regular battle droids, and a couple of interesting builds, especially on the Separatist side. I think the builds are really, really cool. On the Republic side, not that much. Nevertheless, amazing battle pack. I think I will, spend too much money into this one. Then we have the minifigure series 25 going to start January 1st as well, the 71045. And oh boy, we have a ton of interesting figures in here. I mean, we have this Dark Knight, we have a couple of very interesting and cool animals in here. I mean, I don't want to go into every figure, but then we have this Red Sonja kind of Conan kind of girl here with a very cool sword. This detective, this ghost kind of detective looks also really, really cool. Like I said, very good animals in here as well. The mushroom head piece, whatever you may call it, is also quite amazing. This kid head here, is also really, really cool. So I think personally, since I'm doing this for several years now, since I started to be a collector, I think this is the coolest lineup they have ever done. And I at least intend to buy from several of these minifigures multiple copies, because just amazing the job they have done here. Really like the animal. Is this a goat or a sheep? This is a goat, right? So the goat herder is just an amazing minifigure. I definitely want to have several of these, and to have a goat is very cool as well. Anyhow, this is the new minifigure series going to start 1st of January. 1st of January as well, the Japan postcard. I must say, I can say I think I've been a fan of these postcards. However, this one, I don't know, it looks quite boring. I mean, yes, everything that is important, you know, the cherry blossoms and the castle is there, and of course the mountain is there, so that's all cool. But at the same time, I don't know. The Australia one I really loved last year, but this one is not really getting me. Plus, I mean, I would really like this tile. Because I think it's a pretty nice artwork, but it's not pet print, it's just a sticker. So yeah, I'm not really sold on this one, but I'm curious to hear from you and maybe in the comment section what you believe. But for me, it's one of the weaker cards. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the idea of having one for Japan. I just don't like this specific version. I don't know, it's too simple. I think that the main issue is the mountain. They had to do the mountain, I understand. But I guess they gave it too much room. It is too simple. I don't know, it looks boring. That's my main problem with this one here. Anyhow, we're moving on to the new City Space lineup. So I should maybe, as a full disclosure, I don't like it. I'm a big fan of the current one in the City series with the whole blue color scheme and the kind of hot fiction vibe. By means it's somehow realistic, right? They're collaborating with the current lineup with the NASA Artemis program. So that's all cool. This one here, I don't know. This looks like cheap science fiction, if you ask me. The 60434 is the first set, the Space Base and Rocket Launch Pad. I mean, they have a couple of cool features in there, and like I said, it looks like cheap science fiction. There are a couple of aliens in there, which is fun. The astronauts are like colored like the rainbow, and then the whole main color is orange now. I don't know where this is coming from. Anyhow, I think what is really cool, and I guess this is also true for this spaceship here, these spaceships have modules in there. We will see this in a second also with the space station, the modular with the space station, and you can basically use these modules and build entire ships out of it and basically rearrange everything, which I think is pretty cool. That's interesting. But yeah, everything else I find quite, I don't know, I just don't like it. Anyhow, here we go. There's a ton of minifigures in there, 1,422 pieces. And Lego is basically listing this thing for 140 euros or $135 US. And it's gonna start 1st of January. And then we have the space station I just mentioned. And like I said, all of these modules you can basically rearrange and make large spaceships out of it, etc., which is quite cool. A little bit of technic functionality. The overall design is also like a little bit, I don't know, it's nice as well, quite interesting, but like I said, don't like the color scheme, don't like all this science fiction vibe. However, what I do believe is really cool is the minifigures. They have very nice prints. Even the hips are printed, which is really cool, something that even Star Wars is not getting all the time. Looking at you, Stormtroopers. But yeah, I do believe it is quite nice. And here we go. Moving forward to the two rovers. So I just recently, I think we published also my review on the current lunar rover by Lego, and if you just look at the current lunar rover and now at these new Space Explorer rovers and Alien Life, the 60431, you see the entire difference, right? I mean, I can understand that a lot of folks may like these wheels, right? It has, like I said, it looks a little bit like Mass Effect, but again, not really my cup of tea. But this Space Explorer, this is actually the smaller one, has 311 pieces, and Lego is asking for 30 euros or $35 US. So in this case, it's more expensive in the US. The same is true for the space station, I should have mentioned. This is $10 more in the US, and the station is $5 less. So that's really interesting, the price differences. So basically, if you're in the US, you have to pay more for the space station, more for the rover, but less for the rocket launch pad compared to your European counterparts. And with that, we are moving on to the City Command rover, and here it's really absurd. So this thing has 758 pieces. You pay $70 in the in Europe and 85 in the US. So that's like 20% more if I'm not miscounting. So that's weird. But anyhow, for the City Command rover, we have 758 pieces. Like I mentioned, we have, I think, 4 astronauts, 2 aliens, and a robot. And yeah, I mean, I like the shape. I like the build. Don't like the color scheme. Same problem as with the other sets. With that, we're moving on to a sailboat out of the city lineup, the 60438. It has only 100 pieces, and Lego is actually asking for $20 for it, which sounds crazy, but obviously, I mean, if you look at it, this is just basically 3-4 very large pieces, and then a few bricks around it. I really like this. You know, kids can take this in the pool or in the tub. I mean, obviously, they have the large Research Explorer ship from the city lineup as well, but this thing is, you know, is enormous. And this one here, of course, is a lot smaller, much easier to handle for kids and their family. So from that point of view, great idea. Really like that Lego is doing this. But of course, there's not that much to build in this set, right? This is mostly a ship to play around with, but not really to build anything. Anyhow, we're moving on to City Police Prison Island, the 60419. It's going to cost you €100 for 980 pieces or $100 US. And yeah, I mean, I really like, I mean, it's a prison, so it's not really a police station in traditional sense. It follows the new design language of Lego Police by means of using dark blue compared to a lighter blue tone, as I've done in the past. You have a helicopter, a couple of boats, and I'm a big fan of the minifigure lineup. Really like the dog. The police dog looks really, really cool. The prisoners' orange suits look quite nice as well. Obviously, it's city, so only the torso is printed, but nevertheless, it is a pretty cool idea. And yeah, all in all, I think personally for me, the minifigures are the highlight, and that we have a set out of the police area, if you will, or subsection of city that is not entirely in blue is also a nice and interesting change. And with that, we're moving on to the City Police Mobile Crime Lab Truck, the 60418, 674 pieces, and it's basically $55 in the US and in Europe as well. And yeah, it has, I think I really like this. I don't know what they are called, the CSI agents or whatever. She looks really cool. Very interesting head. She has the glasses, and she has a nice print on the torso. So really like this one. Not really sure about the color of the quad. I don't know what this color has to do in here, but next to that, also very nice piece. I don't know if that is a new piece. This basically prison cell piece that you can put in a regular window frame, which looks really cool. The truck itself, I mean, it's okay. It's a ton of stickers, but I guess kids may like it. Nevertheless, I mean, it's $55 just for this one truck, a little bit around it. I don't know, not that good. With that, we're moving on to City Police Speedboat and Crook's Hideout, the 60417. It has 311 pieces, basically €30 or $35 US. So this one is again going to be more expensive in North America, but I mean, the dog is making up for it, right? There's a pretty cool dog in there. A couple of boats, not that interesting. I really like these 6x6x1 panels that they have going in here for the shipping containers, basically. I'm not sure. I've never seen that piece before, but I'm not so much into city, as you may guess. So I'm not sure. Maybe this piece did exist before, but at least for me, I see it, I do believe, for the very first time. Yeah, the dog is the highlight. The panel is pretty cool as well. Minifigures are okay, I guess. And yeah, I mean, $30 for 300 pieces. There are a couple of large pieces in there. I guess that's okay. With that, we're moving on to the City Fire Station with Fire Truck, the 60414. And this is, I would argue, a completely new design that we haven't seen from Lego in a while with kit sets. This 843 pieces. Doesn't sound that much. You have to pay 80 bucks for it, both in Europe as well as in North America. But what is really different is that this thing has much less panel work in quotes than we are used to in recent years, I would argue, right? There's a lot of brick built stuff in here. I mean, it looks very sturdy, almost looks like a bunker. A lot of concrete in here. And yeah, it's an entirely different design language that Lego is now bringing in here. But also, I do believe it is an entirely different experience for the kids, because there's actually a couple of walls that they have to build. We haven't seen this in City before. I mean, we haven't seen this for quite a while. It was actually already with the police prison island we just talked about. And I really like this. This is the direction to go. Less panel work, more bricks, because this is just more fun for the kids, if you ask me. Plus, this entire thing looks really sturdy, which I think is good to have in the kids' room. All in all, very, very nice design by Lego. I do admit, though, I mean, there are even some Technic lift arms in here, even Technic bricks. What is going on, Lego? This is cool. We have also a cool fire dog. I guess that's the brother of the police dog we saw before. Then we have this guy that includes instead of shutting down the fire, is actually, I guess, roasting a hot dog, which is pretty cool. And yeah, we have the cool firemen or firewomen minifigures in here, the cool helmets. It's a good fire station. I'm really happy with this one. This is a good direction. This is the way to go. And then we have the fire rescue plane, the 60413, which I think is also really, really cool. It's 59 euros or 60 euros, I should say, and $55 in the US. And it has only 578 pieces. 3 minifigures as far as I can tell, typical fire brigade. But I mean, there's the plane, of course. Not really sure about this piece here in front of the turbine. I mean, I know this black piece here in front of the turbine or the engine, but these propellers, I'm not sure if this is, I don't know, a new printed piece, a big sticker. I'm just not sure what this actually is, but it does look good. It looks like an airplane where kids can have a ton of fun with. Looks quite sturdy, quite robust. It has, you can basically throw or let go the water by means of having 2x2 round bricks, which is cool. But I'm actually not sure if you just, I'm not really sure how this exactly works. I guess you have to. I'm not sure. I guess you have to basically push this button or something like that, and then it's throwing out the water, which is quite cool. So all in all, I mean, I don't know if I need a fireman with a jetpack, but next to that, I think it is a very cool set. Really like this one. And with that, we're moving on to one of my personal highlights of this lineup, this City Burger truck, the 60404. I mean, it's a tiny set, has 194 pieces, 20 euros, $20 US. 2 minifigures, but one of the 2 minifigures has this burger print on the torso, which is really cool. And then, I mean, this seems to be a rendered picture, not a photograph, so I'm not so sure if this 4x4 tile here is pad printed or if this is just a sticker. I mean, most of the times you can see this on the pictures. In this case, you can't. So fingers crossed, maybe this could even be pad printed, but let's be honest, it's not going to happen. But, I mean, look at this picture. So this fire here down below, this looks like a sticker because the black has a different color, I would argue, than the pieces. But if you look at the burger sign, it still looks pad printed in this picture. Yeah, I guess it is, which is amazing. So cool. Really like this burger truck. Anyhow, with that, we're moving on to the City Construction Steamroller. This is a $10 set. So not much to see here, but I mean, I really like the design. It's very simple, but it does work. It's perfectly up to scale. Minifigure is cool, the construction worker. So yeah, it's a small one, but really, really well done. I'm also a fan of these Technic John Deere 9700 4H harvester. I'm pretty sure I've pronounced this one. Forage. I don't know. 42168. 559 pieces. And it's gonna cost you, I don't have a Canadian price, don't know yet why, but anyhow, in Europe it's 43 bucks, in the US it's only 40. I mean, it's an American harvester, so I guess that's okay for you guys to get this slightly cheaper. And yeah, I mean, this thing has a ton in quotes, for a set in this size of functionality. You have a hand of God steering. I think the harvester itself you can raise and lift, and I think this thing is even somehow turning and working. Color scheme, of course, John Deere is always fun to look at. But obviously everything that is John Deere in quotes about this one, license-wise, is just a sticker. Just keep that in mind. As always, this is a Technic set, so there is not much printed in here, which was very unfortunate. I still believe they should have at least the company logo as a printed piece. For instance, this 1x2 tile in green printed John Deere logo. This would be so cool and be used in so many Technic MOCs as well. Anyhow, with that, we are moving on to the Technic MAC LR electric garbage truck 42167. I think this is a model also that is driving around in North America, right? I've never seen something like this in Europe, but I'm not really an expert on these kind of vehicles. Anyhow, this Technic set has 503 pieces, and Lego is selling it between 35 euros and 33 US. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan. Plus, they're like gigantic stickers in here, and if you look at the front, I guess you can see this here. Here they throw in a sticker on Technic panel, but this panel has like this, you know, as you can see basically in the center, the sticker is hanging in the air. I mean, oh my God, how bad can it be? But this is the low point of Lego sticker work. Throwing the sticker here in the air. I mean, this is at least how it looks like in this picture. So this will look awful if you actually put the sticker on, I'm pretty sure. And I think the sticker will also not stick very well. I mean, in fact, this is what they've done here, right? They just threw it in the air. So yeah, this is awful sticker work. But anyhow, with that, we're moving on to a couple of sets that are usually sticker free. And this is the Creator 3-in-1 sets. And here we have the Creator Tropical Ukulele, the 31156, 30 euros, $30. And I think I really like this primary build. I mean, I'm not a guitar guy, but I really like the way this they did the guitar strings. I guess the entire set has been designed around these strings to fit basically up to scale to their lengths. But it's very well done. Looks really, really cool. Have never seen them in this. I guess this is flat silver. I've never seen them in this color. I mean, obviously, I know them in reddish brown for tree work, for instance. Lego used this thing in the bonsai, for instance. But yeah, this here is a flat silver version. The side builds I do not like. The second side build, I don't even know what this is supposed to be. I don't know. This looks like a stone. Quite weird. And then we have a dolphin as number 3, but yeah, I don't really like the side builds, but the guitar is amazing, or the ukulele, and they did this with only 387 pieces, which is really cool. I mean, that's not many pieces, and it looks beautiful. You have 2 amazing flowers with that. I mean, it's going to be small, right? I mean, count the studs. It's not much, but it looks quite nice. And then we have this space or astronaut, this 31152. It has 647 pieces, 50 euros, $55 US. Never been a big fan of these brick-built humanoids, but I think this one, they did a cool job here. I mean, it is nice. It is, they have the space logo on that, which is, by the way, we need to talk about next week. I guess we can talk about the new Technic space lineup. So Lego is throwing a lot of sets this year into, or next year, I should rather say, into space. And so this one here has the space logo as well. But I think there's no Lego space logo on the build itself. There is a pad printed 1x2 tile for the suit, but nothing else. Anyhow, side build is a spaceship. Looks okay. I mean, again, looks a bit like science fiction, but why not? And then you have a space dog. That, of course, is cool. However, it looks quite tiny, so throwing this entire set just into the dog seems to be a little bit like a waste. The question that immediately came to me, okay, couldn't they do the small spaceship and the dog together? Because both of these builds look a lot smaller than the actual astronaut with his stand. Anyhow, I mean, look how big the stand is. It's, I don't know, I don't really get it, why there are not more side builds, or larger side builds, I should rather say, in there. So then we come to my personal favorite of this Creator 3-in-1 lineup, 780 pieces for the Creator Wild Safari Animals, the 31150. It is 65 euros, $65 US, and yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, look at this animal. It looks so amazing, and Yeah, I mean, the entire build is just beautiful. The color scheme is amazing. I mean, the tree is a bit simple. Quite frankly, they could have, the tree was not even necessary, let's put it that way. But also the side builds are really cool. The lion here looks just beautiful. Amazing work. I mean, it's a side build, right? It's number 2, but it's practically as good as the primary build. I mean, of course, the butterfly I do not really need, but next to that, big fan of the work of the LEGO design team here. This is just amazing work. And with that, we're moving on to the retro roller skates, the 31148. I mean, yes, these are roller skates. Personally, I mean, I've been a kid of the 80s, but I've never seen some, these in this color scheme. Like my sister had maybe dark blue or red ones. And of course, there are more the classic tones for grown-ups like white ones. But I've never seen any in this aqua kind of color and these pink rollers. But anyhow, here we go. And then you have as a side bit a very simple skateboard. This is a bit boring. And then you have a ghetto blaster as well. I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I think the roller skates are really cool, but the color scheme is a bit off, if you ask me. It's the same as with the ukulele as well, that the primary build is cool, but B and C are not that well done. And then we have the Creator Retro Camera. This is a really small one, 31147, 261 pieces, €20 $20. And yes, you have a camera. It looks almost like a Leica. Of course, you don't have the viewfinder, which is a bit unfortunate. I think they could have done a viewfinder, maybe with a couple of trans clear pieces, like trans clear bricks even up here. So this is something I'm really missing. But next to that, it's a beautiful build. You have a little bit of film in here, which is really, really cool. And I think this thing has even a function, that you can basically throw the film in, which is an amazing idea. There's even some kind of, I think it has even a little bit of function in there. I'm not really sure, because you have this push button here and it looks really like that it's doing something. Not 100% sure. Then you have a TV, which is pretty cool. Again, we are talking about an, I don't know, 70s or 80s vibe. So this could be the perfect set basically to explain to your kids how your childhood was, right? You have a typical TV from the era. You have a camera. Obviously, this camera could go for, because this has been a classic design for so long, this could go for a camera of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s maybe even. And then you have the TV, and then you have a camcorder. I mean, this is as much 80s and 90s as you can get, which is amazing. So yeah, really like this build. Like I said, this could be the perfect set for $20. Show your kids how it was in the old days. Anyhow, with that, we're moving to something that I personally think is very interesting. The flatbed truck with helicopter, 31146. So this is like Lego used to be, right? In the old days, like in the 80s, 90s. By means, it's what we call nowadays City, but it has no prints, no stickers, no minifigures. Okay, it's only a creator set. Could use a few minifigures, I would argue. But yeah, you have just a regular truck, a regular helicopter, and then you can make another truck and an airplane out of it, which is really cool. And then you can make even a hot rod and an SUV out of it, which is also quite cool. So I do like all three builds. It's very traditional. Child's kid's toy, if you will, in BlueBrixx. 270 pieces. Lego is asking for $20/€20. With that, we're moving on to Monkey Kid. I can't say much about this lineup because I've never seen this, the TV series. But here we have Maze Dragon Mech 80053. I should say, I don't know how it is internationally. Actually, I do not even have a US pricing. I'm not sure if this thing is available in the US. It is available in Canada, so I guess it does. In Europe, it's €85. There's a big difference between Monkey Kid and Ninjago. That Ninjago is also available at retailers, and obviously prices go down pretty quick, usually over here in Europe when they go into retail. This is not true for Monkey Kid. Monkey Kid is, over here in Europe at least, Lego exclusive, which usually means it's quite expensive and usually much more expensive than Ninjago, and Dreams, of course, but which is very unfortunate. And I guess that's why that not many kids are playing with these. This is more for grown-ups who like this kind of artwork that Lego has done here, which is beautiful as always. Amazing minifigures, very cool mech. I also really like this construction around the mech, like the mech is kind of in maintenance right now, which is really cool. And the mech itself, I mean, it's the kind of quality that we are used to from the Ninjago sets as well. Lego is really good at making large mechs. Anyhow, 2 minifigures, 3 robots, maintenance robots, I guess, couple of speeders, jets, whatever these things are called. Quite nice, actually. And then we have a mini mech, only with 1 minifigure. The 80051 looks almost more like a suit or like a mech suit and not like a full mech. It has 556 pieces, and in Europe it's 45 euros. And yeah, it looks quite nice. Really, minifigure looks a bit strange. Has an interesting, I mean, if you look at his smile or whatever this is, it has a strong anime vibe that we don't see from Lego that often. But yeah, all in all, quite a cool minifigure, nice little mech. And with that, speaking of such Ninjago, here we have Egald, the Master Dragon, 71809, 532 pieces, 5 minifigures, but Lego's asking for 70 bucks. I don't know, these Ninjago dragons have gotten really expensive in recent years. But ignoring the fact it's actually $70 US as well, which is so expensive, 13 cents a piece. Come on, Lego. But it is, I think, an interesting dragon. I really like the snout. The entire head section is really, really cool. Interesting color scheme, black and white. Haven't seen this from Ninjago as far as I can tell. Minifigures, the pelt here on the blue minifigure is interesting. I think we have seen this one recently in the Ideas Orient Express, and also I recall they had this, was it last year in the minifigure collection, collector minifigure series, this Ice Warrior, I think it was called, had this as well. Great minifigure, by the way, which was also really, really cool. And however, here we have it in a sand blue. Is this a sand blue tone? Very light sand blue tone, which is really cool. And then there we have this golden red shield. This looks pad printed as well. Amazing piece. Like I said, I do like the dragon, don't like the price. Do like the price, however, of the new mini Disney castle. These things are getting better and better. I mean, these are, quite frankly, if you're a Disney collector, these things are so much cooler compared to the large Disney castles, I do believe. This is the 40708, it's Ariel's castle. And of course, she is in there as a mini doll, actually, as typical for Disney. And then you have the entire castle with a ton of golden pieces. Amazing. I don't know. The building techniques are not even that complicated. I cannot even say they are great building techniques. I should rather say it's a great collection of pieces. I mean, it's just amazing what you can do with throwing in a couple of 1x1 bricks, basically, and a couple of small slopes and stuff, and get just an amazing overall look and feel. Of course, a ton of pearl gold in there, so if that is your cup of tea, I think this is great. And then we have these new plant leaves piece that we got at the beginning of this year with Rivendell. I mean, like I've said before, Lego designers love this thing. It's an almost like an every second set. But here we have it in a new color. I can't recall how this color is called. It's like a trans pearl pink, something like that. Great piece. Amazing what they do with this here. I mean, this is just a versatile piece. Really amazing. Then they have a couple of lightsaber bars. I guess this is like 3L, also in a trans purple pink kind of color, which is really, really cool. Like the dish here, again in a pearl tone, but also in a trans light blue. It's just like I said, I mean, the piece collection is just amazing, and throwing all this together. I'm a real big fan of these castles. I think this is now the third one, and they all look amazing. And I personally, I'm also a big believer of this Disney castle, the right one with Mickey Mouse minifigure in it. I think this one here on the left was the Aladdin one, also again with a ton of golden pieces. I mean, if you're a Disney fan, I think you should be really happy right now. I guess so, you are. It's because it's so amazing. And with that, we're moving on to a set that I personally don't like that much. I mean, compare the two, and now we have Rapunzel's Tower and the Snuggly Duckling, 43241. And yeah, piece count is almost the same. Obviously, the pieces are a lot larger, but it costs twice as much. So you pay 85 euros for 623 pieces and 3 mini dolls in there and a small whatever this is, and $85 US, 85 euros. So of course it is a lot larger because the pieces are larger. But I mean, from a build time perspective, I guess it's the same as Ariad's Castle, but you pay twice as much. So yeah, and to be honest, for $85, you get this hollow tower and this shell of a building. I mean, it's not even a building, right? I don't know what this is. Basically, a wall. You get a small wall and you get a small tower, half of a tower, and you pay $85. What are they thinking sometimes? I don't get it. Don't like the set. I guess you got this vibe coming across. Anyhow, moving on to Cherry Blossoms 40725. So this is not Botanical Collection. This is just building toy. It's nothing, basically. It's not part of any line as far as I can tell. I think they have done these singular roses. Was the same thing, right? They were also not part of the Botanical Collection. I'm not really sure what Lego is going for with these sets. Like, could they be a complement for the Botanical Collection flowers, or just be an entry point? Because of course they're pricing this thing for €15 / $15 US. So if you're not really sure if, you know, flowers out of plastic are your cup of tea, you may start with this one. This could be an argument, but yeah, I think from an optical standpoint, it's well done, but it's not comparable to what they do in the Botanical Collection. With that, we're moving on to Reobrix, and here they have started a new lineup. They call it the Cargo Train series, and these are European locomotives, so I guess these are strongly targeted at the European market, at least at this point in time. They may do the same thing, because obviously there are a lot of very cool interesting locomotives, especially in Australia and in North America, right, for train freight. But anyhow, they have started now with, I think, 3 European models. The 66021 is the G2000 European passenger train. This is actually a locomotive from Foslo Locomotives over here in Europe. This thing has 1,980 pieces. You can buy it in Asia for 46 plus shipping. Always keep in mind, Bauer is a retailer that gives you the shipping extra, and it's a lot. So I guess you will pay rather something around $70. And then we have the Reobrix Tauros electric. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's a mishap here. It's not passenger train. I think the Tauros is also for, I'm not actually sure. Anyhow, it's a Siemens ES64U2. And I'm pretty sure they don't use these for passenger trains, but I may be, not really a train enthusiast, so I may be wrong here. Anyhow, 1,939 pieces and a similar price point. What I should have mentioned also by the previous one is that the whole idea is here you get the locomotive. It's not designed to actually go around the track, as far as I can tell. I mean, if you look at the wheels, it's actually not designed to do so. In fact, they do not even use regular tracks. It's actually a brick-built track. So these are display pieces, similar to the large trains from Lego, like the Orient Express or the large Hogwarts Express Collector's Edition, stuff like that. So they are not designed to go around the track, but they look pretty cool. And actually, I should have done the same thing for the G2000. Like I said, this is a freight train, and yeah, basically, it's a display piece that you put on the shelf. And then we have the Vectron electric train, and this is actually a Siemens Vectron, of course. I guess Reobrix has not secured license by these companies, but yeah, here you go. A red version. This could speak for being like an Austrian. But I think the Vectron platform has been sold to almost every country that runs trains. So they have sold, like, I don't know, I've noted somewhere 1,500 of these bad boys over the years, because Vectron is actually not a single locomotive, to my knowledge. It's a platform, the current platform by Siemens. So anyhow, this is Reobrix. Then a quick note, this is the last day on the current Insider Days. Though I'm actually, depending on your region and when you hear this might already be over. In this case, I do apologize. But I have actually published this on the site when it started last week. And yeah, I actually used this to buy a ton of pieces from Bricks and Pieces by Lego. So this works both for sets as well as for single pieces that you buy from them, starting from $150, etc., or £130. You get the wintertime carriage ride as a gift with purchase, and the Christmas decor set starting from $70/$65. I think I checked all the Lego stores. This seems to be the same in all of them. And yes, you get double insider points points, which roughly is equivalent to 9.6% of a discount in form of insider points. And so this, of course, could be interesting to buy a couple of exclusive sets, like, for instance, the new Orient Express or the new Modular or the Eiffel Tower, the Titanic, stuff like that. Usually that does not go into retail, is usually the way to go. And this here, I think on the top, this new architecture set, I think is only in Europe, right? I think you can't buy it in North America. But anyhow, I've linked a couple of sets that may be of interest to you. And as always, in case you missed something, you can, of course, also register on, I think it's even on down here. If you go down below, we have RSS feeds, we have a Mastodon, we have emails, so both for deals/offers as well as regular content. There are multiple ways to subscribe, so in case you missed this, just subscribe here and we will send you an email if a new offer or deal comes up. With that, it's one quick reading recommendation. I have a review here written of the Funhole newsstand, the 92.3. And this, again, is a good example of a sample that was provided to us. I think here at the end, yes, there is this comment where you can basically see, okay, this is that the set was provided by Funhole to us. And then there's also, yeah, sponsored is not entirely correct, right? But it's the tag that we use both for a sponsored content as well as in this case where just a review sample was provided to us. Anyhow, speaking of the set, really amazing work. As typical Funhole, this is including a lighting kit. I mean, Funhole is the same company that is doing BlueBrixx and light tailing Lego retrofit lighting solutions. So they really know what they are doing when it comes to lighting, and it looks beautiful. Everything that you see here is printed. It's a mix of pad prints and UV prints. So pad prints, do I have maybe a better picture here somewhere? So basically when it was a single color print, like all the newspapers here, this is all pad printed. And when it was multiple color, and you can actually already see this here, right? Then it's UV print, which is a little bit like inkjet printing, but for plastic pieces, in a nutshell. I mean, obviously I'm doing now the printing industry entirely wrong here, but this is how you can look at it. And it doesn't have the same quality as truly pad printed pieces, but I think it's a good compromise. But it looks actually usually very awful when you do this with like black on white and stuff like that. So this is where they went all in and actually got a lot of pad printed here. So everything that you see is printed, really, really cool. Pieces are as always from BlueBrixx, which are really, really good. And yeah, you have the lighting included, and you pay for it depending on where you buy it. But at Funhole itself, it's $42. Again, consider that there is quite some lighting included, but usually you get a lot of discounts if you go, for instance, at Amazon. Anyhow, with that, we're moving on to MOCs of the week. And the first thing is also my personal favorite of the week by Saman84, The Old Town. Okay, it has 10,000 pieces. You may argue, okay, with 10,000 pieces, it's pretty easy to do a cool mock. But this thing looks amazing. If you ask me, he's asking for $20. That's absolutely worth it. My only complaint is, come on, you could have made 2 or 3 mocks out of this. This is enormous. But even if you're not interested in building the entire thing, of course, you can build the instructions and just build half of it, to get started. Why not? But yeah, there's a lot of detail in there. But I would even argue that on the inside, it's not that detailed. I mean, all the floors are tiled, which is cool, but obviously, a mock designer doesn't have to, look at a budget compared to a Lego designer, for instance. But I think the strong point, or the strong side of this set, or this mock, I should rather say, is of course the outside. And this looks just beautiful. There's so much variety in there. This is exactly, an entire city like this. This is a dream of every city builder, I would argue. Amazing job. Should go really well also with Lego modulars. And so, yeah, amazing mock. Another mock that is a lot smaller, but I also really liked, is The Wizard's House by Reobrix, 1,386 pieces, asking for $6 for the mock instruction. And I really like how this designer worked with only very little space to do something in minifigure scale. So yeah, the only thing I don't like is the back side of this door. I don't know. I would have liked to have a fully brick-built door compared to this basically plate and then just throw a couple of tiles on the other side on it. It is the way it is. But there are a couple of very cool building techniques in here. I mean, if you look here at these fences or rails or whatever you may call it, this is a very cool building technique that I've never seen before. And yeah, like I said, I mean, really use the very tiny space for a full minifigure scale design. Everything that you need, right? You have a bookshelf and you have a desk and other shelves, and yeah, it looks really nice. What I really like also is that if you look here at the front wall, this designer used masonry bricks, which sounds easy, but it's actually very hard to do in my experience, because very often masonry bricks just look awful if you use too many of them. And he used here an interesting combination, dark green, dark tan, and then from the color side, and then throw in a couple of 1x1 round plates and a couple of 1x2 plates with only one stud / jumper. And yeah, immediately you get an entire different look and feel. Of course, there's also all the plant work, but it's a very simple building technique and you don't need that many pieces, and it looks really cool. And what I also really like is the roof. It's just a couple of wedge plates as a foundation, and then ingots throwing on top, and it looks amazing. I mean, again, you basically need only 2 pieces, a couple of plates / wedges, and then ingots, and you have an amazing roof. Because I think, especially for folks who are new into designing or making your own MOCs, at least what I find very hard is not only to acquire all the different 5 million pieces, but even to have all of them in your mind, right, while you're designing. So having designs and building techniques where you need only 4, 5, 6 different pieces is a real amazing for folks who get started. So maybe something to take a look at. And then by Marin Brick Design, I think I've talked about this last week already. Continues to build on his or her winter village, and oh my god, I really like this collection. And I must say, I would love it if Lego would go in this direction with the Winter Village collection. I mean, because, look at this Christmas beer stand. It's an entire building, right? With 4 walls. There's everything in there. Actually, I don't know if it has a back wall, but it looks like that, right? It looks like a full-blown building. It's tiny. Sure, it has only 290 pieces, so Lego usually has 4 times the piece count in the Winter Village collection set, but Lego does not even manages to create an entire building out of this. So I would prefer 5 of these bad boys compared to 1 of the Winter Village by Lego, because it's like full buildings and you have a lot more flexibility. And this one here is a really beautiful design. I love the idea to have a Christmas beer stand. I mean, I'm from Germany and I've never seen a Christmas beer stand, so that says something. So it's just a cool idea and brings across a fun and Christmassy vibe, if you will. And then we have the EST series, I guess, Serie, whatever. It's not really English. Serie is German for series. 13 Orient Express locomotive. I guess it is a German one. I've actually done no research. By Neo Zefiro, I guess, 1,371 pieces. Of course, actually says this in very strong language in the description. Okay, Lego has done me wrong in the Orient Express. I don't like the locomotive. Actually, I do agree, especially the color scheme of the Orient Express locomotive is really awful. But anyhow, so let's do something that is more to the original, to the Ideas entry, which, however, I think the Ideas entry was a French locomotive from the 30s. I guess this one here, based on the name, is a German one, but I'm not 100% sure. And yeah, it's much larger and is, however, also to scale. So I think, yes, it could be the perfect companion to the new Orient Express cars, which are amazing. I've built this set. Yes, the locomotive has a weird color, but it's also a nice locomotive. It's just it is relatively small. So it's not like from the 1930s, like the original Ideas entry. It's more like from the 1890s, I would guess, from the size, so a much smaller locomotive, like from the early days of the Orient Express, which is great. But for various reasons, I don't want to go into all the details here, but as we all know, Lego has then also decided to give it a dark blue color, which looks looks like a Disney train. But so if Lego would just have created their locomotive and made it black, I think it would have looked already a lot better. Anyhow, you can also use this one here. And then maybe also add not just 2, but maybe a few more wagons or cars. I should rather say that would be amazing. Great combination. Nice mock by Nero Zefrio. Zephyro. Anyhow, $9.99 for the instruction. And then we have another German saying, so for those of you outside of Europe, this may not be familiar to you. I actually don't know if they've ever exported these, but yes, Mercedes-Benz was in the tractor business many years ago. I think they gave this up already like 30 years ago. I'm not really sure. And I think the largest one they ever made was the 1500. I've seen these things in my childhood and they were amazing. Like I spent quite some time in my childhood on a farm, and this one next to Fendt as another brand over here from Germany were the ones we were looking up to. And so Isenheim, the designer, has created the MB Truck 1500. It has 1356 pieces. He's asking for $16 for the instruction. That's quite a lot, and it's also actually offering, I guess mostly to Europeans, I think this shop is from Germany, to do a 3D print of these rims in lime green, which of course make this thing even look cooler. So yeah, I've been a big fan of this tractor, but I guess this is mostly for Europeans here. With that, we're moving on to the New York City Bridge, which I really like from the design perspective. It is considered in a Home Alone extension by BlueBrixx as 354 pieces, is asking for $7. I mean, it's your MOC, you can ask for whatever you want, but personally I think it's a bit pricey. But pretty nice design, quite simple, I think, to reproduce or to build yourself, even if you don't have all of the pieces. I think it's a good point to get started. Very well designed, quite simple. Love the lantern. However, what I personally, sex sells, so that's why. I don't know. I think it's an option, all right, of the studio that you can basically throw in quotes a glowing color in the design, but obviously it makes this lantern post look a lot cooler than it actually will be, because in reality they don't glow. But anyhow, nice design by BlueBrixx. And then we are moving on to the Toyota Center, which I think is the stadium of the Houston Rockets in Texas and in the US, and it's designed by Reobrix guy, I think. Nice play in this nickname. 3,466 pieces, $20. It's architecture, it's a stadium. I love it. Pretty cool. Like the brick build Toyota logo and the name and everything. So yeah, looks like quite a nice design. And then we are moving on to a modular, and this is a dealership from Brabus. This is interesting. So Brabus, that is of course what is it called? A mod brand of cars? I don't know. It's like sports cars, if you will. And yeah, I guess it is a modular, it is a dealership. Obviously, I guess you can change the car brand depending on your desires. However, keep in mind the Brabus sign is actually brick built. So if you want to go for a different vehicle brand, then of course you have to get creative yourself. I really like the design. It has 2,471 pieces. I mean, this could be the kind of modular that Lego would do, right? And it looks so much cooler compared, for instance, to the corner garage that Lego has done. So much more grown up. And it is designed by Alirvin experts, asking for $20. That's on the higher side, I should say. I think we had in the beginning for $20 a MOC with 10,000 pieces, so 4 times as much. But it is a very nice design. I mean, I don't know how it is in different countries, but over here, I would say in Europe, this is how car dealers look like, and it's pretty cool. And of course, it's a full-blown modular. You can bring it into your city. You can even remove the side wall, which is really cool, and the back wall here, which is again amazing. Something that Lego is not really doing. I don't know why. There are many designs out there, especially in the MOC side. Also, if you look at Also Young's amazing designs, there are so cool modulars that can do this, and even some manufacturers do it, like the Happy Build music store, for instance. And it's a very cool feature to have more access to your modular buildings. Anyhow, that was the show for this week. I do hope you liked it. For those of you who watched this on YouTube or you heard it on Shopify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to this or watch this, please leave a like, comment, follow, subscribe, whatever it is called on your respective platform. For me, there's only one thing to say. Thanks for listening. See you next week.